Welcome to Lunch Times on LinkedIn Live. This is Rhett Power. I'm your host. We're at a special edition. I don't normally do the program on Mondays, but when you have an opportunity to talk to someone like Stephen Key, like we do today, you don't pass up that opportunity. And so normally we do the program on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays around 12 noon on Eastern Standard Time. But hey, we'll take Stephen whenever we can get him. And some of that's my fault. I had to bail on you last week. I do apologize. But this program is really about talking to thought leaders, corporate leaders, CEOs, thought leaders, authors, people who are doing really interesting work and helping others. And the program is really designed so that we can learn from the best of the best, and that's what we're going to do today. The fun part about the show is that it is interactive if you ask questions. So if you ask questions while we're on live today, whether it be on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, what else? I think YouTube. Yes, that's the other one. We'll try to get to them, but most certainly we'll get to them after the fact, and we can certainly have a dialogue and an engagement go and a back and forth. So if you have questions, please do ask. I know Stephen and I both are willing to answer. And so let's get to it. My promise to you is to always bring you someone interesting and someone that we can learn from. I want to introduce Stephen Key. Stephen is an award-winning inventor, speaker, author of at least 3 books that I know about, probably a lot more. I know he's a sort of a well-known in that area, but I know that we're also colleagues. We both write for Inc., and he's a longtime entrepreneur.com author and a lifelong entrepreneur, renowned for his knowledge and expertise in intellectual property. And he's co-founder of InventRight, a company that helps people and companies to license their ideas. So, Stephen, welcome to the show. I can't wait to pick your brain today about how to get a product to market and what you do at InventRight.
Well, thank you very much, Rhett. It's a pleasure being here.
I know why you love your job. And I think I've figured it out before you even tell us. I know the feeling that I had the first time I walked into a Toys R Us and I saw a product that had been an idea on a bar napkin come to life and be on a shelf. And the fact that you help people do that every day has got to be to me that's got to be why you love the job. I don't know. Maybe I'm making that up, but
no, I don't think you're making that up at all. There's something truly magical about coming up with an idea in your head, and then next thing you know, you see it on the store shelf or maybe on TV, and people are using it, and you're kind of in awe of the whole thing. How did it come from here? And everybody's enjoying it. And I've been able to do that many times in my career, but now I help other people achieve that same success. And when they do, I feel like it's my product too. So I get to win again. So it's fun.
Let's get into the process a little bit. How do you, it's hard, right? And unless you have a company behind you and you have a product development machine, how does an inventor get a product from their head to the shelf? I mean, that's a loaded question.
No. First of all, it's not that hard. Everybody makes it out to be really difficult. And it wasn't for me, maybe because I didn't know there was a right or wrong way to do this. Mm-hmm. I was in my early 20s, I was extremely naive. And I just thought if you came up with an idea that a company wanted, they would pay you. I didn't think it was anything more than that.
Right.
So I just started to show companies my creativity, and if they liked it, they brought it to market for me. And it's called licensing, where they're just going to take an idea that you submit to them. They're going to do all the heavy lifting, and they're going to pay you a royalty on each and every one they sell. It's a very simple process, and companies need ideas. So it's it's a great way for us creative people that really don't want to start businesses. Maybe we don't have the money or know-how. Yeah.
Are there companies that are doing that really well? I mean, are there some examples that you can think of companies that really have a good program of open innovation and inviting people to show product?
No. Well, okay. First of all, there's one industry that's been working with outside toy or product developers, inventors forever, and that's the toy industry.
Right.
They've been doing that for, 70, 80 years. So they're really used to it. They've got a great invention process, submission process. They've got a department. There's someone there that's waiting for your ideas. I love those guys. And then you have other companies that do a pretty good job. They value us to come up with good ideas. Mm-hmm. And so they do have a process. They tell us what they're looking for, when they'll get back to us. They'll share all this information. So they really make it easy for us. And then you have all the rest of those companies that, even though they want ideas from creative people, their process is not so great. So we have to educate them a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
What industries you think need education?
Well, I don't know if it's the industries. I think it's the companies.
Okay.
The one industry that's on fire is the kitchen industry.
Okay, that's random.
Oh yeah. Think about it. If you go to, they have a trade show once a year in Chicago at the McCormick Center.
Okay.
There's 2,400 kitchen companies that show up, and that's not even the biggest in the world. The biggest one is over in Germany. And all the doors are down, all the walls are down, and you can walk up to those companies, and if you're a professional and just ask them if they work with outside product developers and vendors. And if they say yes, bingo. And there's a lot of them. And they're growing every day. They're growing. So the pet industry is the same way. They're very friendly. The music industry, hardware, they're all open.
They're all open.
Yeah, pretty much. The only ones that are not are the real big companies, the mega companies.
Okay.
And they might say they are, Rhett, but I don't think they are.
They're not.
They've
got their own shops for innovation and their own labs and their own.
Well,
yeah.
Here's the problem. They're so big, the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing. So for them to take a look at an idea from the outside, they're afraid that they're going to get sued.
Right.
Because they just don't know company-wide if we're already working on a similar idea.
Right. That makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. So it gets thrown over to their legal department, and those guys just shut it down real fast. Yeah. So
that's a no. That's an automatic no.
Pretty much.
What you sort of said, you kind of gave me a great segue into the next question, which was, how do you validate? Let's say I'm an independent inventor, or I've got some ideas. How do I validate those ideas? I mean, I read something you wrote a couple of weeks ago, and I can't remember where it was, but you talked about, LinkedIn. You talked about social media a little bit, and talked about maybe trade shows. Or is there some ways that you can sort of get validation of the idea that you have?
People ask me all the time, "Hey, take a look at my idea. What do you think?"
Right.
And I always tell everybody, it doesn't matter what I think.
Right.
Because I don't think anybody has the crystal ball. I think in the end, the consumer is going to make the decision if they like it or not. Okay. But before that, when we're talking about licensing, basically renting an idea to a company, letting them take it to market for you where you collect royalties, you just want to give it to that company that really knows their customer.
Right.
Right. They know a lot about the industry. They know their customer well. So when you show them, really, that's the only opinion that truly matters. It's not your friends.
Right.
It's not your spouse. It's not your patent attorney. They'll tell you anything, basically. So that's the only way to really know. And I believe you don't have to, build a prototype even today. You don't even have to file a patent if you don't want to today. You can do a one-page sell sheet. It's a one-page advertisement of what your idea looks like.
Right.
At the very top, there'll be a benefit statement, really simple to understand. What are you doing for me?
Okay.
And don't even build a prototype. Have someone do a 3D computer-generated model that looks real.
Okay.
Then show them the benefit. See, I believe the old way never really worked that well, that I was going to do all this work and then take it to market. I believe sell the benefit first. Here's my idea. What do you think? And see if the benefit is strong enough to where you might do some of the other things.
Right.
So I just flipped it. And because of that flipping of the whole business of invention, submission business, it allows you to spend very little money on every idea.
Absolutely.
And I know it's a numbers game. So you're going to have to come up with a lot of ideas, spend very little on each one, and see if you have one that has legs. See if you have that one that companies say, hey, we want to know more about this one.
Yeah, I mean, that used to be so prohibitive in terms of, I remember when we were doing toys and we'd have this back and forth between China and the US, and you know, DHL, a package here and a back and forth and prototypes, or you'd go over to China to look, you know, wow, it was expensive.
Well, it can be. I was on the phone with someone this morning that had spent $100,000 and they're just now really getting started, in my opinion. You know, they filed three patents. Maybe they're going to be filing international. They have a pitch deck. They have all these things that really you probably could have done it with the one-page sell sheet first.
Do you believe in the patent anymore?
I would like to believe I believe in it. I have patents, you know, behind me on my wall. I'm a big patent holder of over 20 patents. I've defended my patents in federal court against a little toy company, Lego.
Yeah.
And I realized that you never want to have to do that, I guess. But I also realized today it's about speed to market.
Okay.
And you know, patents they were used to for litigation. I think they're used for selling. I think they're a selling tool, not a protection tool any longer. It's hard to protect any idea.
Right.
Apple has a hard time protecting their technology, and they're the largest company in the world with thousands of patents and who knows how many patent attorneys. And so why would someone like us be worried about it? Then the next question I always get, well, if you don't have a patent, how can you license anything? Well, we see a signed licensing agreement just about each and every week now, and there's no patent, and there never will be.
Right. It's about speed, right? And both entities know it's about speed.
It's about speed, and the lifespan of products today are fairly short.
What I didn't realize either was that once you file a patent, it's useless unless you file it in Europe, and whether you have one in China, and
even if you had a wall of patents, because of the laws that have changed recently, you might not even get your day in court. You might have to, and even your day in court is going to cost you a couple $1 million. Okay, so
which far exceeds probably what you made on the product.
Kind of. It doesn't make sense. You can file patents, and if you license your idea to a company, they might defend it for you, but that's probably not likely either. I just think if you're going to chase people around the internet to stop selling your similar idea, maybe a copycat, I'd say congratulations, because they don't copy ideas that don't sell.
That's right.
I'd say that's good news.
That's the ultimate wisdom right there, right?
People, it sounds harsh and it sounds, but I like to give practical advice of what you can do today. And I think because there's so many companies that are looking for ideas, because of speed, I think the opportunities are greater today to license ideas than they ever have been. And companies need us. They value us, not every company. You might want to kick the tires on the company, make sure they're inventor friendly. And that's really your best protection, by the way. And just be creative and get those ideas. Don't keep them in here. And don't think you have to start a company to launch every idea you have, because that's not practical either.
What's talk about, congrats, by the way, on 20 years with Invent Right. talk about that process. Talk about, if I have an idea, why coming to something like InventRight is probably the best way to make that happen faster, instead of going out and beating on a bunch of doors and trying to find a license, somebody that's
Well,
going to buy the product.
well, we're not the magic company either, Rhett. Let me make that clear. There's a process that I've used with my own ideas, and
Right.
that process was really simple. It had to be simple because I didn't have a lot of skills at the time, and I had to do some workarounds. So it was a very simple process. And then I realized that most people were struggling, so I just started talking about it. And
Okay.
and I've been writing about it, and we have a YouTube channel where we have over 400 videos that tell you exactly how to do it. I have a book from McGraw-Hill called One Simple Idea. It's a yellow book.
Yep.
That tells you exactly how to do it. I gave everything away for free. That probably doesn't make me too smart, but I did it. And I thought it was the right thing to do. One of my students became very famous, Tim Ferriss.
Yeah.
I wrote the 4-Hour Work Week, and he wrote some nice things about me. And I called him up when someone wanted me to write a book. And I said, Tim, why should I write a book? He goes, well, you probably shouldn't, number one. But if you're going to do it, write it like it's your last. Give everything away for free. Best advice I have ever heard. Because then if people want more, they'll contact you.
Right.
And
there's always there's always more.
Always more. I mean, I'm still curious. I'm still learning. I think what we do at InventRight is really simple. We just hold your hand. And we're a guide. So we make sure that we get you in the game within 45 days real fast. I don't know of any professional athlete that hasn't had a coach or a game plan. I don't know any successful entrepreneur that hasn't been educated, that's not listening to podcasts or videos or reading books or taking classes. You have to educate yourself. You have to invest in yourself.
Right.
A lot of people think they're going to learn it along the way. I think that's painful.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a great approach. I think if you're really serious, find a coach and listen to him and make sure he knows what he's doing. Kick the tires. And we've been doing it for 20 years. Thank you very much. I didn't see that coming when we first started out. In fact, I told my partner, why are we even doing this? No one's ever going to care. And so now we have a pretty big audience, but I sure didn't see that happening. I'm anti-company, by the way.
Are you really?
Yeah, you know that. All my stuff is, why work for somebody else? Why even have a company? Now I have a company of 20 people. I didn't see that coming either. How ironic is that?
Well, I think you really nailed it. If it's not your expertise, work with somebody who can do it really well, right? I mean, if you want to your expertise is the product or this idea, this whatever it is you're working on, and if you can streamline that process and make it easier, and it makes sense to me.
What I guess where our value comes in very quickly is that whole process, those 10 steps. We've done it over and over and over so many times that we know all the twists and turns. We know how to answer every question some company might have. We know what their concerns are by their emails, and when there is a licensing agreement, we know how to negotiate behind the scenes. We're very good at it. We probably see, I wouldn't say probably, we see more licensing deals than anybody in the world at this point. And
you help people avoid the mistakes, right? And the nice thing about it is I know that one of the questions I wanted to ask you, and I think it's really important, is you've got to make sure you have as an inventor, you have to make sure you have the right match. And I think for the company, you have to make sure you have that you're working with the right person too, because if those things don't align, they don't work together, then it can be pretty awful.
Yeah, basically it's really simple, but there's just a lot of little things that happen. So, and knowing how to respond or read between the lines, or what's important to a company, or how to present yourself correctly to where they consider you an asset, or more than that, they don't work around you. All right. So I think it's just, we teach people how to be professional product developers. And we love it because we have some of our students have licensed over 30 ideas. They're professionals now. And we like to see that. It makes me proud. I think when someone's successful, not only are they happy, their family's happy, their friends are happy, our community, InventRight's happy, I'm extremely happy, but the whole inventing community is happy. Okay.
Right.
So it's really for all of us. So we need to celebrate and we need to help each other. And I don't think any of us can do enough to help one another. We need to stick together on this. Yeah.
No doubt. What's the relationship like once the licensing is done? And maybe it works out differently for every arrangement, but does the company typically keep the inventor close to help with the product development or to further develop the product, or how does that normally work?
It all depends. It depends on the complexity, depends on your expertise, depends on your willingness to help.
Okay.
I think what you want to do is establish a long-term working relationship with the whole team.
Okay.
And be there in case they have any questions or maybe something you can solve, because there's always going to be issues. Just because you sign the licensing agreement, it's not over. There's going to be manufacturing questions. There could be a whole bunch of questions or problems, and you have to help them overcome them. Because you have to realize, when you license an idea to a company, that's just one of who knows how many products they have. And those product managers, engineers, they're overworked. So if you can come in and help make their job a little easier, th're going to really value you. Okay. So, and
you're going to have a long-term relationship, right? Maybe you have a product.
I think you're always going to have another one.
Right.
So, and now if you're helpful and if you're part of the team, you have their ear. You just call them, oh, hey, I've got this, or maybe a line extension. It doesn't just end. It never just ends. So you want to be part of the team. So sometimes they treat you, sometimes they want you to go completely away if you're one of those high maintenance people. Or if you're politely ask them, how can you help? And they value your enthusiasm or your work ethic or your expertise, they're going to want you to join and help them. Everybody needs help.
Absolutely.
And they only want to take on projects that are easy. They only want to take on projects that makes their life a little easier, because it's just a job to them, but to us, it's everything.
It's my baby.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Are there any trends that you see kind of in these, in maybe just a couple of industries that you work closely in, that you see in terms of product? Are there things that are really hot right now, things that are products that are moving? Or what are the people looking for?
Well, I do know the categories. I mean, like I said, kitchen is very popular. Pet is always popular. No matter if the economy is not doing well, pet is on fire. A lot of people are real excited about the DRTV, as seen on TV space, just because of the speed those guys work and the distribution. And of course, there's a lot of money to be made. So, and that's a real fast industry. You have to be a little bit more cautious. You wouldn't want to submit to all these companies at one time, maybe one at a time. Okay. Because everybody knows each other. So, but there's a lot. Hardware's on fire too. There's all these categories. Some of the tougher ones would be packaging. I'm in the packaging industry, still am for 20 years. That's a difficult industry. You really need to have an understanding of supply chain, all the equipment, things like that. I think the fitness industry is a little not as easy, I think. Okay. I think there's a couple major players. Okay. But you can get in, you can navigate it, but it's they're not as open, but you still can get in, just have to maybe do a different technique. Right. What I have seen, though, the biggest change is at the trade shows.
Okay. Well, how so?
Well, it used to be that you go to a trade show, you had to have an appointment, and they always build these big walls, and you couldn't see what behind the walls, and
Right.
this whole secretive thing. That's all changed. They want you to take pictures, take videos. They want you to share their product launches. They're not going to show you some of the other stuff that's maybe a little confidential, but it's not about selling at trade shows anymore. I don't think it has been for many, many years. They're not taking orders. They're showing the industry their innovation.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the companies now are having, like, they take one day and they just have it for inventors to come in.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but there's no gatekeepers there.
No.
You go to a trade show, everybody's going to welcome you in. So that's the biggest change, is that sharing of products. Please share. And I do quite a few interviews when I'm at the trade shows and stick a camera in front of someone's face.
I love those, by the way. Those are great.
Well, thank you. And someone said, how close could you possibly get that camera to someone's face? Well, I'm at a trade show and it's on an iPhone and it's loud. So I'm like, but they're being open and honest. They're telling me exactly what they're looking for. And that's changed too.
Okay.
So the one thing they've told me, these companies do value us. And I had read somewhere where some Harvard professor said most of the ideas are going to come from everyday people. And so now they're kind of leaning on us because maybe we're in the trades, maybe we know what we're dealing with, or who knows who has a great product idea, right? I mean, who knows? So,
right.
So that allows all of us. And the thing about licensing that I love so much, it levels the playing field for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're 18 to 82, it doesn't matter where you live, it doesn't matter your income, your race or gender, it does not matter.
Right.
The tools are so simple and are so affordable that anybody in the world now can get in the game of innovation, can get in the game of seeing their ideas come to life. And they don't have to start a business, write a business plan, quit their job, or any of the crazy things we've done in the past. So it's for everybody.
I had an interview the other day, and the guy was telling me about we're sort of in the golden age of business acquisition, right? Where people are retiring and they're selling to businesses at a really high rate right now. And to me, this seems to be the time too, where if you're a small, really mobile company, innovative company, you can really acquire great product. And it just seems a great way to grow to me.
Well, look how easy it is today with 3D printing to test a prototype out, or file, you don't have to file a patent. You can file a provisional patent application. That's very easy to do. Ways to reach out to everyone now, from contract manufacturers to anybody within that supply chain. You can reach out to them on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
It's easier. You can research anything now on the internet, basically. So I think it's easier. That's why when people are worried about patents or they're worried about things like that, yes, okay, but it's not needed as much. Now, if you're a company that's going to invest lots of money and lots of time, it's a different approach. I mean, you're going to probably need a wall of patents. You're probably going to need a team. You're going to need a lot of money. You need time. You need all those things. But for most ideas that I see, it's different today, right? And companies value a new idea because they do know to be competitive, they need to come out with something innovative, and they need to do it quickly.
Yeah. So switching gears completely, what is your favorite product that you've worked on of all time?
All time. Rhett, I love them all. Okay, I hate to say that. I guess I could say, well, maybe the ones that produce the most income. Well, that's not even true, too.
No.
Some of my really simple ones brought a lot of joy, too. I would say the Michael Jordan wall ball, which I think you can see there.
Yeah, you had it on the book. It's on the bookshelf. Yeah.
Yeah, that was real fun because I love to play basketball, and most indoor basketball games have a square backboard, and I thought that was so boring. So I just put a poster of Michael Jordan, which was my hero back in the day, and I sent it to Ohio Art, a toy company, and they licensed that concept. Talk about I named it Hoop Hoop Hooray. That's how terrible the name was.
Wow.
I know. That's how bad it actually can be. So they saw it and they loved it, and they licensed it and paid me royalties for over 10 years on a idea that probably cost $20 to make, maybe.
That's incredible.
And I was hooked. No intellectual property at all. 10 years of royalties. The last check was for 55 cents. I kept it. And of course, it was a commercial on TV, and I loved it. That's probably one of my favorites, just because it was easy to do, and I didn't see anybody. I didn't think anybody would like it, but they did.
What was the one that was the most surprising hit? The one that you just thought, that's not going anywhere, but surprising. There's always got to be one of those.
Well, see, here's the way I looked. When I first started out, I was submitting novelty gift ideas, kind of a weird thing to think of, for Valentine's or Easter, graduation. They were just stuffed animals and I did little drawings, and my partner did the drawings. If they liked it, they licensed an idea. I didn't make a lot of money, but it was really great to go down to the store and see it there. I had this one. I'll show you one real quick. You can license anything. Okay, if you can license this, you can license anything. One company, Applause, said to me, "Steve, we want an idea for Valentine's, and we want it to sell for maybe under $2."
Mm-hmm.
And come up with some ideas. So I wrote this one line: a plastic arrow with the suction cup with little messages such as "I'm stuck on you." And so all I did was send them a one-line description. They loved it. I was like, no prototype, nothing, just one-line description. So that kind of puts a smile on my face.
Absolutely.
And then some of the other ideas are very different. This is an idea here, or product
back over a little bit so we can see it. Yeah, there you go.
But if you turn it here, there's a little window. If you spin the label,
we can't see it. So we'll come back up. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, okay.
It's just a rotating one. Let me get the window right. Let me see if I can find the windows right there.
Yep. There we go. Perfect. Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah, okay. I can see that.
We sold 500 million of these labels. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of labels.
That's a lot of.
Actually, we should have sold more. But actually, that's
the population of the United States plus another 100 million.
Well, the thing I love about the packaging industry is that they're consumables, and if you have a hit, they're going to sell a lot of them. Mm-hmm. And people come, they'll go back and pick up another one. What I love about the label, though, I was at a graduation party, and I'm off camera a little bit. I was at a graduation of my friends up in Bozeman, Montana, and 14,000 people were in a stadium. And I'm sitting there, and I look around, and they're all spinning this water bottle. And that's my label. And people were coming up to me, hey, look at this label. I'm thinking, yeah, that's my idea.
That's mine.
I think that was probably one of the best feelings I could have possibly have had. Yeah.
I can imagine. It is. I to this day, I mean, I know you experienced this way more than I have, but I remember those feelings of seeing something like that. and seeing what you did and it be out there. And that's
Well,
incredible.
the other time I showed the Michael Jordan wall ball. I called it Hoop Hooperray. I showed it to my wife. I'd met her at a toy company, and she was vice president for Gallo Winery in the marketing department. So she's a pretty smart woman. And I showed her that idea, and I said, "What do you think about this basketball game?" And she said, "Well, Steve, I think the chances of you ever licensing that are about 1 in a million." So I did whatever any inventor would do. I sent it off anyway. And sure enough, 3 days later, a contract came over and they licensed it. I remember sitting on the couch with my kids and with my wife, and Saturday morning, and a little commercial would come on the screen, and Michael would shoot the ball, it would go in the net, and he would say, "You look at the audience," and he would say, "That's the best looking backboard I've ever seen." And I remember looking over at my wife going, and she used to look at me and goes, "Anything's possible."
I love it. I love it. So how, I know we've got to wrap up, but how can people get a copy of the One Simple Idea?
Well, it's really simple. It's a yellow book. It's from McGraw-Hill. You can find it on Amazon. It's been out now for a few years. It's been a bestseller. I think it's got 500 5-star reviews, which is probably quite a few for a business book. And it's been translated in 5 different languages, I believe, 5 or 6. So just go down to, pick it up on Amazon.
Okay.
Better yet, go down to your local library. It's probably there too if you want it. And read it. It's an easy read.
It is. It's a great read, by the way. And
thank you. And
I really recommend it if you have a product. And I will say, go to inventright.com, because I think if you have a product, check out the site, because I think it can be really helpful to you. And I know this process, they can really help you with the process.
Well, we're trying, Rhett. We're going to keep on trying to help people.
There you go.
So check out the YouTube channel, InventRight TV. Over 400 videos. They're like potato chips. Once you watch one, you want to watch another one. And just do it. There you go.
There you go. That's a great way to wrap it up. It can't be better than that. So tomorrow we have a great program. We have Terry Jackson and Dr. Terry Jackson and Alyssa Cohen for our coaching roundtable. And you can also visit powerlunch.live to see the schedule. You can also do past episodes, and the authors and people that we have on, their books they're also on the site. So you can also, I think we'll be adding One Simple Idea tonight. That'll go up on the site, so you can also order it that way too, guys. And but Stephen, thank you so much for talking to us. And when I'll probably have you back on one of our roundtable discussions, because I think we'll probably take this subject up at some point in the near future.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Anytime. Thank you very much for having me.